Welcome everyone, today we have 13 new glitches for Super Mario Maker 2. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video because we have a new import glitch, allowing you to take items from 2D World into 3D World. This does not require co-op making mode, so you Switch Lite users, you are in for a real treat. Now you can import things again. Be sure to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. Without further ado, let's dive in. Here we have a quick, inexpensive dry bone crumble detector. When we are in this dry bone and we are awake, this spike ball on this parachute is going to head to the right and hit the wall and do nothing. When we crash down, it's going to head to the left and hit this on-off switch. So depending on whether we are crashed down or alive in this dry bone shell, the on-off blocks will either be red or dotted lined. So we crash down, on-off switch gets hit. We come back up, the other on-off switch gets hit. This is not global, so if you walk away from this, it stops working, and you have to be on the right side of the pipe for this to function. But this could be a cool mechanic in a level regardless. Here you see a crazy smoke effect right here. And you probably are wondering what the heck is going on there. Why is there all that smoke? Why are there sparks of light? And if I walk away from it a little bit, it gets even bigger. So what's happening here? Let's go back into editor and see what's going on. This is a whole bunch of Magikoopas that fall into the abyss and try to respawn. They will not respawn right next to us, but they will respawn on a conveyor belt. And when they do, they go to a sideways spring, immediately hit it, and disappear. And that disappearing effect creates the smoke. And when you have so many Magikoopas disappearing and reappearing, it creates awesome effects. So let's see it again. Magikoopa shows up and immediately disappears. Something else interesting happens if we put a ledge, a place where we can actually hang out on the left. Look at that Kamek dispenser. So them appearing are going to push the Kameks out to the side. They will keep on appearing and reappearing. Here we have an interesting situation in which this snake block right here is going to push the Munchers over to the right, pushing it alongside of this wall. It's going to go up one tile and then to the right one tile, and it should crush this Muncher and kill it. But it does not. It smushes it underneath this one way into this one tile gap. So 2 Munchers will be smushed into this one tile gap. After it does that, it lifts the cannon off of its stack and then places it above this mushroom platform. This is an interesting little mechanic. Let's see this in action. 2 Munchers merged, cannon destacked. Here we find ourselves in a very interesting little situation, where we have a POW block and we're not able to actually get through a seesaw. So how would we progress to the other door? Grab this POW block and drop it as high as you can on the seesaw like that. Now I'm going to run at it and duck slide, and when I do, I will either slide under the seesaw altogether or I'll get stuck in this little spot. I do a little bit of a jump, it's going to pop me under the seesaw and allow me to get on with my life. Here we find ourselves in another interesting little situation. How would we get through this without losing the cape? We need the cape over there on the right to get through the door. All we really have to do is press ourselves against this on-off switch and hold right and then spin our cape. We will clip right through the on-off switch, allowing us to get through that little section unharmed. And hit those turn blocks so we can go through and beat the level. Here we have an interesting situation where when we come out of this door, we will be standing on this cannon. As it falls, it's going to do an air stall. The spike top right here, because of the twister, does an air stall, and that pushes us up a few pixels above this cannon, and we are still able to jump off of it when we fall down to the water, allowing us to get over to the door. You'll see a couple pixels, but we can still jump and go over to this door and proceed with the level. Here's another interesting little situation. This question mark block has a fire flower in it. Spike ball is going to activate the question mark block, and the big spike ball is going to immediately break it. And even though this question mark block isn't there anymore, you're going to see the fire flower still emerge and rise up from nothing. Let's check it out. So the fire flower rises even though the block is destroyed, allowing you to grab the fire flower and move on with your life. Here's another interesting little scenario. This cannon is going to drop and land on this red pipe, kind of between the red pipe and this block over here, so somewhere in the middle. So there's going to be about 1.5, maybe more blocks of room for this Goomba to come up and get squished between. And when it does, it will actually merge with the red blocks a little bit and get frozen in the air and create a cool little visual effect. Let's show you what I mean. So the Goombas will continue to come up and get stuck in that little gap, which is pretty cool. It looks pretty interesting. When they're not aggroed, they all kind of merge and create a cool little visual effect. In 3D World, as you probably know, a bomb cannot actually walk through a spring. Springs are way more solid in 3D World than they are in the other themes. How would we get a bomb to merge with a spring then? Well, it's quite simple. All you really have to do is drop a donut block on top of it, and it will push the bomb over one side or the other. I have not found a reliable way to push the bomb where I want it to go. I do find that if I ground pound it, it goes where I want it to go more reliably, but not all the time. But here we have a spring with a bomb on the inside of it, which you can interact with a fireball if you hit it at the right spot. This is a quick little glitch. It's more of an editor glitch as well. I'm going to take this pipe and drag it down to this other pipe and let go of it. And when I do, you're going to notice that the hitboxes get very, very janky. So I assume this is the blooper hitbox that's outside of the pipe. If I multi-grab right here, it will multi-grab the pipe and the blooper, and I can drag it around once without that hitbox getting all messy. But that is very strange how that would happen. Once I let go of it, the hitbox is fixed. This is not really a glitch, it's more of a detector than anything. However, this is what we're going to call a rising water detector. As the water rises up, it's going to push this dry bone shell into the sideways spring, which is then going to hit that on and off switch, allowing you to get through these red blocks. Let's check it out in action. Water comes up, dry bone hits the on-off switch, allowing us to get on with the level. This is a fairly interesting situation right here. This spring is going to fall down onto this slope right here. I'm going to run forward and hit the spring. We cannot grab the spring in this instance. However, when we go back to the one-way, the semi-solid, sometimes when I jump, it pushes me backwards. So right now I'm not moving back at all, and yet the spring consistently pushes me back. And sometimes when I do this and it pushes me back, it will corner clip me through this block, and I will jump super high, like that. This is not abnormal for spring height jumps. However, it's pretty interesting that it pushes me even though I'm not moving any horizontal direction. What I'm going to do now is go over a new import method, pulling things from 2D World over to 3D World. This was recently discovered, and it's awesome because you don't actually have to use co-op building mode, so you Switch Lite users, the people that don't have joycons, you guys are in for a real treat because now you can import things from 2D World over to 3D World using this method. We're going to start in Super Mario 3D World, so create a new world, do a reset rocket if you have to, whatever. You're in 3D World, this is where we start. We're going to switch over to Super Mario World like this. Now that we're in Super Mario World, grab a track and draw that down. Grab a claw and drag it right onto the track. Then grab a hammer bro and drag it right on there as well. Once you have this all set up, we're going to take this track and undraw it. Now we're going to turn Hammer Bro into a Sledge Bro. Give him a mushroom like that. Start the scene, stop the scene, and now we undo until this claw is not holding the Hammer Bro anymore. So that's 2 undos. So here is your black hole. We're going to multi-grab this and copy this as many times as we can. Multi-grab and copy, and then unselect. It's going to tell you when you're done copying because you're going to hear a noise. So that little noise, that clicking noise, tells you that you can't do it anymore. Now we're ready to import something. So grab whatever you want to import into 3D World. I'm going to use a dry bone shell. Place it on the bottom of this little hammer bro. And now we undo until we hit 3D World again. Now we have a dry bone shell in 3D World. You can delete your black hole if you want to, although you'd have to go into the subworld and back into the overworld to delete him fully. But you see, this is our dry bone shell in 3D World. When I start the scene, you'll see that he is T-posing. He is a very weird item in 3D World. Jump into him like this. and you are definitely in a dry bone shell. Be careful, if you crash down and go into an inactive state, you will get soft locked with a dry bone shell. But this is how you now can import an item from 2D World into 3D World without using co-op maker mode.